I'm usually one to say, know what you want, only do what you want. I'm pretty much usually on that side of things. But I think with this type of thing, it really doesn't hurt to be open to both, because realizing that one way or the other is not all good or all bad. Each one comes with certain things. And as long as you're aware and prepared, you can let God decide what was right for you all along. Welcome to the Marriage Magnet podcast, where it's not just about attracting the one, it's about becoming the one. I'm your host, Nechama Phillips, and here we focus on growth, high standards, and creating an intentional life and love through self-development. Navigate your dating journey with clarity and confidence, because marriage is not just a box you check off, it's your life. Hi friends, and welcome back to the Marriage Magnet podcast. I'm your host, Nechama Phillips, and today's episode is going to be all about dating through the Shidduch system, which is through a matchmaker, or dating naturally, organically, whatever you want to call it. Dating out in the real world, dating where you find someone, you meet them, you talk to them, you decide to date. And as a religious single woman who's dating for marriage, you know, the differences and the pros and cons that can be accompanied with either one. Because I have just been asked, and this is an episode long coming because so many of you have said, to start off, I met my husband organically. I was dating through the Shidduch system. I guess you could say that. I never really went. I actually went to one shadchan, one matchmaker, and that was enough for me because it was a pretty terrible experience. So I didn't actually go to shadchanim, so to speak. I met some maybe at events, or I definitely met some of them, but I only went to someone's house to talk to her and give her my resume. I only did that one time, and it was because a friend convinced me to, and I regretted it later. But point is, I dated through the system, so to speak, where I've had friends set me up, family members set me up, extended relatives, or even just people that met me at a wedding or whatever it is, or people that met me that decided they want to set me up. I still consider that through the Shidduch system, because it wasn't me dating someone naturally, meeting someone organically, deciding to date, which I've had plenty of those experiences as well. And personally, I truly believed always that I would meet my husband organically. I don't know if necessarily I believed it. I wanted to believe that. I would always tell my rabbi, who is my mentor, I would always tell him, I really want to date someone. I just want to meet someone. I want it to be natural. I want it to be just a very organic experience, because I just think it's going to work so much better for me. And he was always saying, listen, if that's what God wants for you, if that's what is meant to be, you will find, I know it seems unlikely, but you will find it in that way. And I did. But there were many times I doubted it. And also, just make sure you stick around until the end, because I'm going to talk about all the differences. We're going to go through the pros and cons of the Shidduch system and, dating through matchmakers and being set up and blind dates and all of that. And then we're going to go through the pros and cons of meeting someone organically and dating in that way. And at the end, I'm going to share a little bit about the mindset shift that I help my clients with and that I had in my dating life that allowed me to meet my husband organically, but also I was completely open to meeting him otherwise. Okay, so let's just jump right in. We'll talk about the Shidduch system, the matchmaker, blind dates, being set up, whatever that looks like in your community. If you're a religious woman dating for marriage, you'll know what I mean. Okay, so some of the pros. We'll start with the pros, okay? So the first pro is that when you have a go-between, right, there's someone setting you up and someone actually suggesting the match and then setting you up and then going between, helping you navigate certain things and navigate certain communication. It's easier to be honest, right? If you're not interested and you want to say no, it becomes just so much less awkward because you can say no to the person setting you up. You don't have to necessarily give as detailed of a reason. There's just a lot you can find out, especially in the Shidduch system. You're calling references ahead of time, right? You have a dating resume. You are looking that over. You are calling people that know the family, that know him. You speak to people. You get a sense of who the person is. And so it just has a much more, because there's so much in between that happens, and there's so much that happens before you actually go out. There's just a lot more honesty, there's a lot more control with someone overseeing it, and the main goal is dating for marriage. It's not going to get lost in the context of hanging out and random texts and everything. It's going to be almost there's a safety and security in that container of the system. Another pro I would say is that again, intentions are matched from day one. And of course, there could be some discrepancies, there could be some differences, but generally speaking, if you are set up on a blind date with someone for the purpose of marriage, or you are suggested by a shadchan, by a matchmaker, you are set up with someone, both of you are coming into this date knowing that the other person wants marriage, they're here for that purpose, there's nothing really else that you're here for. Like, it's just you're aligned in certain ways from the start that you may not get otherwise. Another thing is that, which is connected to that, is that your values are so much more likely to align because you are finding out from references, because you are, again, coming in and the person that suggested this match to begin with, or the person that set you up, knows both of you or knows of both of you or knows enough about what each of you want and are looking for that it's going to be in the ballpark of what you're looking for. And sometimes not, which again, we could get into those details of why we even as women agree to go with people who are not, for us, and being like too open and what that looks like. But for now, sticking to this, I think it's a pro that your values are more likely to align, more likely. Okay. And the last pro that I'm going to get into here is that in the container of the system, in this sometimes rigid, but again, we're not in the cons right now, we're in the pros, in this system that has certain, certain parameters, I guess is the word, there are certain boundaries that are naturally in place and expectations about the timeline, and just more or less, it's going to be more or less the same, where you feel like you're not like just floundering in a sea of like, who knows what the other person is thinking, what's going on here. Like, you're really going to be held within those parameters. And you both know that, yes, someone can expect to date for 6 weeks and get married, someone get engaged, someone can expect to date for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, even a year, which is less likely when it comes to the Shidduch system, right? But at least you're most likely that you're going to be on a similar page in that sense. You're going to have similar expectations, and you're both going to be implementing boundaries that the Shidduch system provides, for better or worse again, but here we're talking about for better, where you will not be waiting for, late at night for a text from the guy to see if you're going to go out again. Like, you're going to have just a little bit more structure in place. And I know that matchmakers could take so long to get back to you, and there could be so much back and forth, and people are left hanging, and it's terrible, right? Again, we're not talking about the cons. I literally can't help myself when I'm talking about the pros to still talk about the cons. But let me reel myself back in. The pros is that there are certain boundaries in place. You're not going to be in some dangerous situation that you by mistake put yourself in. You're not going to there's going to be certain parameters, certain boundaries, certain expectations that are going to be similar. You're going to be on the same page, and just have a little bit more safety through the process, emotional safety as well. Okay, so now let's jump to the cons. And I might be, put in the comments, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever. By the way, leave me a review. P.S. Make sure that this episode gets shared to a friend that can use this. The reviews really help the show reach more people like you. So super helpful to me and to this entire community. But comment below if I'm missing any pros, I'm missing any cons from either end. I really, really want to hear what you are wanting to interject and add to this conversation, because I think that there's so much more that I for sure missed. But yeah, those are the pros so far. And then going to the cons. Okay, so because the pro, I mentioned the first pro is that you can communicate through a go-between, and you have a little bit more safety in that, and you have a little bit more room to be honest. I also think that that is used a lot as a crutch. And I think that women are not learning and practicing and able to use their communication skills, or maybe they just don't even have any because they are so out of practice, and they're going through someone and they're basically learning avoidance. They're basically learning the skill, so to speak, of avoidance, because they are not able to communicate their feelings. They're not able to communicate their needs. Instead of saying to the guy, like, I would really prefer if we went out to this type of place, or what are your thoughts on this? We asked the shadchan, right? We asked the matchmaker, and we're like, tell him that next time I would be more comfortable going to this type of place, or last time he took me to this place and I thought it was weird, or what, I don't know, whatever thoughts we're having, we don't want to communicate to the actual person, and we literally teach ourselves to avoid confrontation. We literally teach ourselves that developing the skills of communication are not worthwhile, or that they're not needed for marriage, which is such an illusion. And it's so false, because we're going to go into marriage and we're going to need these communication skills that we have not learned and that we have not cultivated and not fostered. So as you see, I get very passionate and very heated when it comes to this. I think there are a lot of cons, and at the same time, I still truly believe the pros are beautiful and help so many people. And so it really depends on what works for you. And just, I think the main thing is going in eyes wide open, knowing what the pros and cons are to each way of doing things, and allowing yourself to decide what makes sense for you based on that true awareness of going in with your eyes open. Okay, so that is the first con for, matchmaking, being set up, blind dates, shidduch system. Less real communication skills are being cultivated. The second thing is that the dating for marriage intentions are good, but because it is very quick, you go on these quick dates, then you go on the turnaround is very quick, right? You go on a first date, the second date's not far behind, third date's not far behind. A lot of times it does not give you time to think. It does not give you time to process. You just get a little bit like caught up in it, and it's hard for you to like take that step back and listen to your intuition and feel into what makes sense for you, which, by the way, I created this digital product called the Ultimate Clarity Checklist, and it's 3 quizzes that you can take after dates 1, 2, and 3. And by you taking this quiz, it gives you that at least 15 minutes to just like really, it asks you very, very pinpointed questions about how you felt that are values-based and feelings-based, right? Chemistry-based and compatibility-based. And it gives you like this score at the end. You tally up your points, and the scoring system is just so incredibly helpful. Women have told me like this has just changed the dating game for them by having this. It's only $18. It's in the description or the show notes below, so make sure you download that. It's called the Ultimate Clarity Checklist. But yeah, a lot of times the turnaround is really quick. It's hard to listen to your intuition. It's hard to actually have time to even talk to mentors or talk, like it gets very fast, right? And it's also very contrived. It doesn't always feel natural getting to know someone. It messes with people's heads because you're just like, well, we went on this date, we sat in this hotel lobby and just like talked for 2 hours, and I was like dead bored, and now like I'm supposed to know if I'm interested in getting married like or even dating him again. Like it just seems very fake. It seems just very contrived, I think is the right word. And it's just really hard to see if your personalities click. It's hard to see, like, feel into real life what this really means for you. Like, are we connecting? Are we clicking? Like, it just sometimes just, it's too quick and it's just too inauthentic. It's hard to be your authentic self in those kinds of environments. The third con is that even if the values align, chemistry is oftentimes not there because nobody cares to pay attention to that. Right? Sometimes we are just set up with people, and the matchmaker or the family friend or whoever it is that is setting us up, they're not focused on that because they're just like, we just have to make sure he's a good guy. We just have to make sure that, if you wanted someone who's like learning, or if you wanted someone who's doing this kind of job, or you like, let's just make sure that it clicks, that he's at the religious level that you want and he's at, right? And it leaves women feeling really torn because I think a lot of women are going on a lot of dates where the guy is good on paper, but in the moment they're just like, no, like this is not clicking for me. Like, I don't even know if our personalities click. I don't think I'm even attracted to him. I'm creating a course all about this, all about chemistry and compatibility. So definitely check out the description and the show notes below. Put your name on the wait list because when it's ready, you're going to be the first one to know. You're going to get a discount, and it's going to help so much in this area. Because no one cares to focus on it, it's hard as the woman to go into this date and to be like focusing on it because it seems to be not important. It seems to be not at play here. It seems to be a factor that you are supposed to suppress. You're supposed to suppress your desires. You're not supposed to say, I had a good time, or I had an okay time, or like he seems like a good guy, but like there's nothing there. Like maybe as a friend, maybe, but I don't need a male friend, right? It just adds to the problem of women going on dates and feeling like there's no chemistry there because no one cared to focus on it, and that they have to start feeling like, should I settle? And the last con I'm going to talk about, again, please interject. I really, really want to hear your opinions in the comments. But the container of the system, which does provide safety and does provide those parameters, and that inherently there's going to be better boundaries in that situation, that container of safety also provides pressure and rigidity to the experience, right? You have to date within an expected timeline. You have to do things the way the Shidduch world expects. You have to go through certain processes or report to certain people. It's like there's a lot of expectations and boundaries in a negative sense where you don't get to be a person, where you just have to feel like you just need to do what the system expects without releasing that pressure and releasing that rigidity, and like being able to flow with how you truly feel and to flow with your own natural process of what your dating experience would be like otherwise. So now let's get into the pros of natural or organic dating, where you meet someone maybe at a Shabbos meal, you meet someone at a religious institution, you meet someone, for me, it was on a Shabbaton, it was a Jewish music festival weekend, wherever you meet this person, right? Or I one time met someone from getting a ride when I was younger to New York, from Lakewood to New York, and then we ended up dating a few months later. You never know. You never know how things are going to come about, right? So yeah, so some of the pros for natural organic dating is that it does help you practice those communication skills, right? That will serve you in the dating world. It will help you get closer faster to the guy, and will also just give you that practice and that experience and those tools for your marriage. Because once you get married, you're going to have to do a lot of hard conversations and confrontation and conflict resolution. So it's a really great practice to learn how to express yourself, how to start opening up and talking and just being your true self in that process. Another pro is that there is less pressure with timelines and expectations. It feels easier to be your authentic self much quicker. Doesn't always happen like right away, even if you meet someone organically, but it is easier and much more natural feeling to be your true self. And when you get to know someone, you honestly get to know them in a much more real way, in a much more natural way. It's less contrived. It's less formulated. There's less parameters, again, for better or worse. And another pro is that there's more focus on chemistry, because you're usually not going to date someone that you meet unless you're attracted to them, right? If you're meeting them organically and you're not set up, you're actually choosing to go out with them, you're probably on some level attracted, or else you wouldn't agree to go out, because it's like, it's much more in front of you where you're like, okay, if I like them, I will continue to want to pursue this. And then the cons for dating someone naturally is that communication can get really sticky. Sometimes we don't have those tools yet, right? We don't have the practice, we don't have the skills to have those hard conversations, and that confrontation can make us feel really sticky. And if we don't have those tools, which I help my clients with so much, because navigating and learning these skills in the dating process is invaluable. But if we don't have those skills sometimes, and we don't have the support, and we don't have objective guidance, we can get into really sticky situations, right? Like where he's rejecting you, you don't know what to do with it, or you're not getting the message, or you're trying to like cut things off with him, but like he's not getting the message, and he keeps calling you and messaging you and saying no, but let's keep dating. And you're like, no, I really said no, but like, because it's not in the parameters with that go-between, and you don't have that the safety in those parameters, it can get frustrating and drag things on when you don't want them to be dragged on either end. Or it feels even more painful, honestly, when you get rejected if there is no go-between and you're dating for a while, and then the guy, it's like, no one's there to cushion the blow. Like he's just going to say, forget it, I'm not interested, or this is not going to work for me, whatever it is. And you actually might get a more specific reason about why you were rejected, which is also extra painful. So it could be rough in that sense without those parameters. The communication definitely gets sticky. Also, there's looser timelines, and sometimes there's misaligned expectations. So he could maybe be thinking, oh, I just met you, this is fun, let's date for another year. And you're like, no, I'm a religious girl who wants to, like, I'm focused on dating for marriage. If it's right, I'm going to move forward. If it's not right, don't waste my time. And sometimes there's just this misaligned expectations because you are not coming in with the same intentions necessarily, or that wasn't vetted previously. And also misaligned values. Again, the chemistry is more of a focus, which is a pro in natural dating, but the compatibility is oftentimes more of an issue, where it's like, wait, you don't do this religious thing to this level, or you don't care about this, or you are super strict on this and I just have no interest in doing that in my life. Like, there's so much misalignment that could happen with the compatibility, and it could create a lot of confusion and a lot of lack of direction, where you're like, where do we go from here? So I guess we're still talking. Are we continuing to date? Like, what are we doing here? And sometimes you don't actually really know what's happening because, again, you don't have the person in between. You don't have the safety and the parameters of the container of the system. And so you're just like a little bit confused, lacking direction, and sometimes more time could be wasted, unfortunately. There's too much focus on chemistry, or even things that we mistake as chemistry, right? And maybe there's not enough like focus on the values or the true goals of what this dating experience is going to lead to. Okay, so this was my overview, understanding of like what the pros and cons are for each, for the Shidduch system, for matchmaking, for being set up on blind dates, right, as religious women who are dating for marriage, and the pros and cons of meeting someone naturally, meeting someone organically. But I really want to leave you with this, because however you choose to date is okay. I want you to really feel into that. I want you to know there's no wrong or right, even though people will try to tell you. They'll try to tell you their opinions. And of course, it's a lot based on your community and your family upbringing and your culture, but really being open to both doesn't hurt. And I'm not usually one to say, be open to everything. Like, I'm usually one to say, know what you want, only do what you want. I'm pretty much usually on that side of things, but I think with this type of thing, it really doesn't hurt to be open to both, because realizing that one way or the other is not all good or all bad. As we're seeing from talking about these pros and cons, like, it's not all good or all bad. Each one comes with certain things, and as long as you're aware and prepared, you can let God decide what was right for you all along, right? You can come in saying, I have a preference. I would love to meet someone naturally. I would love to meet my future husband organically. It would be just so nice, right? Let's say that's your preference, right? And you can also say, listen, until those situations happen, I'm not going to force situations to happen, which is the opposite of natural, right? So I'm going to let life happen, and I'm going to allow myself to go through this and to just like hope that when natural situations come up, if they come up, I'm willing to entertain those ideas. And at the same time, I'm also still willing to be set up and to continue dating within more or less the parameters of the system. And that's what I did. So I said, again, I think I need to meet someone naturally. I was pretty sure that like I had my heart set on that. But every time that I met someone naturally, and it usually was, again, stickier and harder, there's definitely cons involved. After that, I would tell my rabbi and would be like, there's no way I'm going to meet someone again organically. Like, it's just not possible, because it's so unlikely. Again, as a religious girl dating for marriage, like, there's not so many, you're not going to like go to a bar and meet your future husband. Like, you're not going to, it's just highly unlikely you're going to go into situations that allow you to meet the right person for you, especially the more religious you are. It's just not so easy to come across. And I would say, and I would say, listen, like, I don't know if it's going to happen again. I want it to happen. And he would always say, if it could happen once, it could happen again. Hashem has no limitations, right? God is not limited by what you perceive as not possible. If he wants you to meet someone organically, he will make it happen. But your job is to continue being open to both experiences, to continue being open to saying, I don't know, I think I know what's best for me. I don't know for sure if I know what's best for me. And so I'm going to continue to date in all of these ways. And like I said, the main thing is having your eyes wide open, being aware, being prepared of what comes with each way of dating. So just go with what feels right to you. And it's interesting because I work with women who are like traditional, right, in their Judaism. I work with women who are ultra Orthodox, ultra Hasidish, like no smartphone. Like, we literally have ends of the spectrum. From, I've worked with 19-year-olds, I've worked with 36-year-olds, I've worked with just a range of, and one-on-one privately, I work with a bunch of other people also. But like, even in the Marriage Magna Method program, like just in the program alone, there's such diversity. And the cool thing to see is that there's so much that's the same. However you're dating, whether you have a long-term boyfriend, long-term relationship, whether you're dating in the Shidduch way, whether you're doing kind of a mix of both, whether you're a little bit modern Orthodox and have like family like you just have a different a midway of going about things. Like, there's just so much that's the same, regardless of the path that you choose to get there. There's so much that's the same. There needs to be that marriage readiness, which means you need to know who you are, you need to know what you're looking for, you need to have the confidence, have the clarity, refine your intuition, feel good about your identity regardless of your marital status. Like, all of the things that we go through in the program, you need to come out, which my women really do. You need to come out transformed, ready to attract, ready to become and attract the love that you deserve. And that marriage readiness, no matter which path you choose, that marriage readiness is going to take you on the path to meeting the right person for you. And the main thing is that you're going to know you didn't make this decision by default. That's the main thing that I want for women. I want them to be empowered. I want them to know they don't have to make decisions by default, especially as big as choosing the person you're going to marry and live with and have kids with for the rest of your life and for generations to come. You have so much to gain from becoming the woman that you know you are meant to be, the wife and mother that you want to be, and you have so much to lose letting it happen, right? Letting it happen by default, just going along the way and being like, I hope it works out. Like, I hope I get married and everything's fine. I hope that the rest of my life is on the trajectory that I wanted, without realizing the power of the decision that you hold right now to be like, am I going to choose this actively? Am I going to be proactive about this choice that I'm making that's going to affect the rest of my life, that's going to impact future generations? This is real generational legacy work that we do here in the Marriage Magna Method program, because I know I am literally doing holy work when I see my women walk away from working with me. Either they're engaged or they're very much on their way, feeling peace of mind, knowing that the right person is out there for them, knowing that they know who they are, knowing that they know what they're looking for and how to choose it, how to find it, how to know when it's not it, how to listen to their intuition, and just truly cultivating and choosing on purpose, choosing their destiny on purpose, because it is the saddest thing to me to see women just by default come out of high school, come out of seminary, just get married to the first person that they date, which, okay, if you got married to the first person you date, I'm not saying you're doomed, but it's just like this, oh, let me just do this by default, casual, let me make a decision that's going to impact the rest of my life and future generations. Casual. No. It's not casual. You have so much power. You have so much more power than you truly give yourself credit for, than other people are giving you credit for. This is your life. This is your decision to make. Again, whichever path you date, I want you to go in with your eyes wide open, and I want you to feel equipped, knowing who you are, what you want, and how to look for it, how to spot it, how to navigate an often really vulnerable and challenging and raw time in your life when you're searching for what you want most out of life, which is a husband and a family and a real healthy, happy marriage and future. This is the work that we do inside of MMM in the Marriage Magna Method program. Make sure that you learn more about it in the description below, or just book a free consult call with me. I would love to talk it through with you, see if we're a good fit to work together, and if this is the right next step for you. We do incredible transformational work in this program. You just want to be equipped. You want to know that whichever way you're dating, you're on the path towards the right person for you. You know that you're making this decision on purpose, with clarity and with empowerment, because that's what you deserve. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. And again, leave your thoughts in the comments. I really, really want to hear. Add to the discussion. Let me know if you thought of other pros and cons to each way of dating and which way you prefer. And reach out with anything. I love hearing from you. Take care, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.